Welcome
Well,
to
mine wants to
TV.
Steve his dog and how to hunt.
What was that? You better get a fresh dip and buckle up. Larry Porch the second.
Oh yeah.
What in the wide world of sports is somebody that is computer stupid trying to trying to run a podcast?
Well, at least our audience got to listen to you go through it. That was fantastic.
I'm glad I don't practice profanity.
Yeah, I'm glad you held back that time.
Oh, me. Yeah. Well, YouTube had some kind of update, and we had no video when we were first trying to go on. But I tell you what, that sure didn't slow down that dog pound, did it?
No, it sure didn't. It just kept it going more.
If you are new to the channel, we added 20-something people to our Facebook page. We added a little bit more than that on our subscribers for our YouTube channel. And we just want to say thank you for coming aboard. And if you're watching us live, then jump right on in, because those folks are harmless on there. Larry, it's almost like there's two different shows going on. What our guest is talking about and what's going on in the chat, and it's comical. And those people would love to have you jump in. They would love to meet you. I know Bama Murdoch got that chat started about an hour before we went on the air. He was trying to agitate some folks on a PM and get them all worked up, but we love the dog pound. And I guess we need to start the show, Larry.
You think so?
I guess so.
You think Noel's ready?
I think she might be. You want to introduce her?
Well, let's see. Tonight, our guest is Noel Barbash, coming to us from Denver, Colorado. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, pretty good. Hi, Larry. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Noel. We are so glad that you're with us. We've known you for quite a while. And it's probably on Larry's bucket list like it is mine to come up to the mountains in Colorado and have you show us around. And but before we get started, why don't you just introduce yourself to us and give us a little bit of background about yourself?
Okay. The guys, I'm camera shy. Anyway, so I grew up in Connecticut. I have 2 sisters and a brother. Parents are deceased. I am 64 years old. I moved out to Denver back in 1975 just because I wanted to be near the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. I like fishing. I like camping. I worked off and on. I worked at one company for 11 years, and that's all I could stand. I hate having a boss, so I've been self-employed since then. Uh, Actually, now I'm semi-retired. But I love it out here in Colorado. I love it back east. I have a lot of friends out here and a lot of friends back east, and I don't know what else to say. It's good to be here. Thank you.
Well, tell us how you got interested in the Bigfoot subject and what you started to do.
Okay, so like I said, I live out here. My mom was back east, so I moved back there to take care of her. She had gotten sick. That was in 2010. And so after she passed away, I went up to visit my brother. He lives up in Rutland County, up in Vermont. And we play golf. I play golf. He plays golf pretty horribly. But so anyway, he knows this one golf course over in Whitehall, New York. And so we went over there to play. He liked it because it was cheap and it was an okay golf course and all. And it was close. It was just over the border in New York. So we get there and they have a big sign for their logo and it was a Sasquatch. And I just thought, well, that's pretty curious. And I didn't really, think too much about it. And we went and played 9 holes. We came in for lunch. It was a family-owned golf course business, and the daughter was working the I don't know restaurant sandwich bar. And I asked her, I said, why do you have a Sasquatch for your logo? Because I was just curious.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, my dad saw one. And I was like, oh, I can't tell you what that did to me. I couldn't. After lunch, we went out and played the back 9, and I played even more horribly. We got back in, and her mom and dad were both there. Her father, who had the sighting, and what it was, he was out watering early one morning. He was on his golf cart, and he had his dog with him. And I believe it was on the 7th fairway. It could have been, maybe he was watering the green. I'm not sure now. But he saw one, and he mentioned the size. It was pretty big. What really scared him so badly was the eyes were glowing red at him, and his dog got pretty scared. I can't remember if he said his dog took off back to the house or whatever. But it took off. I think he didn't see it for very long because it did take off. There was woods around there at the time. And that's what he saw. His wife was there also, and she chimed in too. She hadn't seen anything, but she mentioned that she had heard just a lot of howls just all through time and since, and that was a while before we played. That, like I said, it was 2010. And she said now that it's gotten developed, there's not, they don't hear anything. His name was Cliff Sparks, and he has since passed on. I think he died, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. Yeah. And that's what got me interested, asking that question, that very stupid question that I really sometimes wish I never asked.
Hey, I understand that. So this golf course was in a suburb or rural area at the time, and then growth come out around it?
Yeah, it was still pretty rural. I mean,
okay.
They said it got developed, and I was like, well, what was it before? But actually, the Cliff, he had, I believe I think it was a dairy farm. I'm not sure, but I think he had a dairy farm, and he wanted a golf course, so he up and got rid of his cows and made a golf course. So anyway, the other part is when we were driving home, my brother and I, after we got done talking with him later in the day, I made him get on the internet and just start looking up Bigfoot stuff, information, and we found BFRO, and so I started going out with them after a while, not right away.
So did you do like everybody? You pretty much studied stuff on the computer, read stories, encounters, and read books, and
every book I could get my hands on, I read. Nonfiction, at least they said it was nonfiction, and everything I could find online. I became obsessed with it, and I just had to learn.
Right.
And I had to get out there to learn. I couldn't learn from the books.
Well, tell us about the first time that you went out searching for these creatures. Did you go by yourself, or is that when you made contact with the BFO?
The first time I went out was with the BFRO. I kind of went hiking a little bit, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what to look for. So I just, just did my normal hiking. I needed to be with somebody that knew something. So yes, it was with BFRO, 2012, down in New Mexico, over in the Jimenez mountain range over in there. But I hooked up with them. I was supposed to go a year earlier. I had signed up to go to Washington, but I got kind of sick and couldn't go. So the next one came up here in Colorado. So I went to that, and I was terrified. I went, but I have to tell you, I was terrified, and but I had to find out. And so of course I packed up everything, drove down there, forgot my tent, and and so I got there, I found the place, and I stayed in base camp. They had 3 camps. They had base camp, south camp, north camp, and then satellite camps. The little camps were just 1 or 2 people, and then so anyway, my tent that somebody let me borrow, I was in base camp, but I was on the edge, and I was kind of close to them, but I was a little nervous because I was like, they're all right here in the middle, I'm over here on the edge. And I was like, this isn't good. So I went to bed that night, and this was a Thursday night, and I lay in there, and I thought I started hearing pebbles getting thrown at the tent, and I don't know. I really don't know. I can't say if it was pebbles or stuff falling out of the tree, but I'm like, oh, it's throwing pebbles at the tent. But what got me, though, is I think there was pebbles getting thrown at the tent, because this darn squirrel just starts freaking out up there, and I was like, I had never ever heard a squirrel go off at night like that.
Right.
So of course I couldn't move. Had my 2-way radio and my flashlight, and I didn't think to do anything. I was just like stiff as a board, like, uh-oh. You want to see a chicken? Boy, oh boy. I asked the next morning if I could sleep in. Somebody brought a big old trailer, and I was going to sleep in your trailer. And it was like, okay. But but the good thing that happened, some other things, excuse me, the women that were there, we did, I think it was Friday night, the next night, we did a night hike. Base camp, there was base camp, and there was a dirt road, and then there was a ridge across the road. It wasn't a very long ridge to walk, so we went and walked that ridge, and back behind us, I heard for the first time, and I've never heard it since, I heard that long moan howl.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know what to call it. It was deep and it was loud and it scared me. But it was I heard this with my own ears, which was just, I was amazed, just amazed to hear that. And some other things that happened over there, we were, I think it was after that hike, I can't remember. One evening, I was too tired to go out hiking, so, because we did, night walks. So I was just in base camp, and most everybody else was gone. I think there was me and 2 or 3 other people in there, and I heard something go running. I didn't know what it was, and they said it was bipedal, and I was like, oh, but because I didn't know what it was, I just didn't know what it was. But still, I got to hear that.
Yeah.
And there was I didn't see anything. I know some folks had their IR out there, and they were watching. They said they were watching 3 through their infrared thing.
Night vision?
Huh?
Night vision or thermal?
Night vision, yes. And I didn't see anything that they did make a big old report about it, which was good to read and see what they saw. But that was my first, introduction to this, going out and actually looking and learning. And another thing that did happen, and I can't say who or what or why, I went on a short hike one afternoon, and of course a tree just happened to fall over.
Yeah.
Probably 300 or 400 yards from me. But things like that, you don't know what did that. It could have been an old tree. It could have, who knows. But,
now you said you went into this fearful, pretty much.
Oh yes.
What were you afraid of? What were you expecting, and how, in the end, did you feel about it?
Well, the reason I went into it fearful, and we were talking about this the other night, I always was afraid of. I didn't want to pay any attention. I didn't want to know anything about Bigfoot. In fact, I put it out of my mind completely because I watched this Twilight Zone show when I was a little kid, and it was the one with William Shatner, and he's on the plane, and this thing is sticking its face in the window.
Yeah.
On the wing. And I think that's what scared me to death. Anytime I heard anything about Bigfoot or Yeti or abominable snowman or I just, it's like, I don't want to hear it. The Patterson Gimlin film came out, and was it 67 or 68? So I could have cared less. It's like, I don't need to know anything about that. And so I was just afraid because of that darn show. Excuse me. And but and I can't remember the rest of your question. So.
Well, I just asked, why were you fearful going into it, and then after you were done with it, what was your mindset about it?
Oh, I'm still fearful. I was still afraid, but I was fascinated, and also I just had to learn, find out more, and the fear didn't go away immediately. It kind of, the fear is still there, but not as it's not terror today.
Yeah.
Right.
It's toned down a lot. There's still fear there, of course, but there's more of a respect today.
Yeah.
And it just took time going out and going out and going out, and
well, what motivated you to go out on your second expedition?
I just had to learn. I just wanted to learn more.
So you were able to put that fear of the unknown behind you.
No, just kept going, walking through it. And I don't know that it went away. But it's, I did get to a place in my life though where it was like I don't want this fear running my life. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't want to live my life like that's not living. So,
No,
to live
no,
like
it's not, and I can correlate with that because I've never had a fear of the woods, but I used to have a fear of heights. And the way that I broke that fear of heights was I went skydiving. And
Yeah.
I did my first jump and and the adrenaline rush from that first jump, I had to do it again. I wanted to do it again. And I remember when I went out on my second jump, and the jump master, he's the one that spots the area for the pilot to where he hollers door, and you have to actually, we were doing it in a small Cessna 185, and you would have to do a wing walk. There was a stirrup, and you would have to grab the strut of the wing and walk out on the wing. And,
no, sir.
but I remember when the jump master hollered door, which was for the door to open, the thing that popped in my head was I escaped death the first time. And here I am about to climb out on this wing of the plane.
Yeah.
But, and I guess that's what I have taken many a person out on their first time. And you can, Larry, you've done it too. And you can see the whites of their eyes whenever activity starts, and it don't even have to necessarily be possible Bigfoot activity. It could be anything, a stick crack or a limb fall. But I've always correlated that with my skydiving whenever the people want to go out on that second. And you know how scared they were on that first one. But to conquer that fear and to say, I want to do this. This is something that I want to do. Noel, tell us about the second time that you went out with the BF4O.
The second time, my notes. The second time, I believe we were up. It was here in Colorado. We were up in the mountains. Up, I don't know. Well, I could just say the town we were near because that doesn't give anything away. We were up near Leadville, out that way. We're probably up around, I think around 9,500 feet, and that was my second one, and there wasn't a whole lot of activity, but in a way there was. Excuse me. I ended up in a satellite camp, of course, not in base camp. I never get to, we ended up, like yards, I don't know, 500-600 yards up from base camp, and there was 5 of us camped back there. We were in a bunch of pine trees, pine forest, and I was next to this dirt road, and what happened, well, back up a little. One of the guys, Dan was his name. Our tents were pretty close to each other, probably about 25 feet. And he was telling me, he said, there was something outside of my tent yesterday. I don't know what it was. I was trying to take a nap, but I knew there was something out there. And I got up to go out and see, and there was nothing there. And I was like, oh, that's nice. I don't want to hear this. But, and so so the next day I needed a nap, and it was raining anyway. And so I was in my tent and getting all ready to take my nap, and something went running by outside my tent. It was like boom, 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 and I was like, okay, there was a father and his son there also. They had a truck and a camper, and I was like, okay, that had to be the one of those guys, and they were. I don't know why they're back there, but they must have had to go to their truck to move it for the rain. I just made some excuse up because I was like, this just,
Yeah.
And I went to sleep, and I thought I'll just ask them later when I get up, and so I did, and no, we weren't out there at all, and I was like, oh, that's nice. But we also, I think there was something was up there. I don't know what. The camp, the leader of this expedition came up because they come and greet. I'm all over the timeline with this. They come up and see how we are and where we're camped and all that, and we're already telling him, it's kind of strange feeling up here. We don't know, and he looks across the road. And there's all the pine trees, and one of the branches, right when he looked up there, just went boing. Like, oh. So, and I think there was only, well, not only, but somebody did say they saw a sighting up there and did see one. I have never seen one, and I don't expect to ever see one, but just being around those folks, and listening to them and what they did do, and learning what these BFRO folks do when they go out and all, it's something that they're teaching me, to do, how to go out, what to do, what not to do. Like the thing about going on the night hikes. There's just different. It seems like in different places they'll do different things. One place they will do knocks, and another area they don't. And it seems like they have a feel for what these beings, what they like and don't like, and how to, I guess, draw them in.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
It could have, I don't know, it's just a theory, but it could have to do with what each family unit or each troop might do out there. Some may will rely on, let's say, owl calls to communicate between each other, and some may use knocks or whatever. I mean, until we catch one, I guess we won't know to ask them.
That's right. And I don't see that happening anytime soon.
When you were talking about that the group leader came up there and the tree moved, was it like something was bowing the tree over and then let go of it and it just slung back up?
No, it was more the branch, and I can't remember if it went up or down. I'm imagining the branch was pushed. So if you have a big old branch pushed down and you let it go, it springs back up.
Yeah.
And that's what it was, just one of the branches, not the the whole entire tree. So a lot of pine trees over in there.
What was your thoughts and feelings after the second time that you went out? Was it enough to motivate you to want to get on the internet and look for more ways of getting out and looking for these creatures?
Well, I had already, before I went out the first time, I had already started reading books and looking online for whatever I could find. I didn't start seeing things on YouTube for a while because I just swore I was never ever gonna get on YouTube ever. I swear to a lot of things, but anyway, um, the thing that I guess keeps me motivated is just wanting to. Well, of course, I do want to see one. I would love to see one,
Right.
but over time, well, when I first started going, I had all these expectations. I was gonna see one. I was gonna hear one. I was gonna hear one talk. Just everything, and so I wasn't able to enjoy being out there camping out in the woods, because I was just so full of myself. And over time, I learned to just enjoy being out in the woods again, out there camping. It just was a gradual change, and it was kind of like what I do normally. I love to go camping. I love to go fishing. And it's pretty much back to that now, except now there's this other aspect to it, I guess.
Right.
But it didn't just. I just had to learn. I learned stuff the hard way by trying to do it my way, of course, and getting all these expectations and just learning. Just enjoy being out there, have a good time, and bring a bunch of food like Mark and Larry, and
That's right. But that is a good point, because whenever you first start, you have the expectation that every hill you come over or every tree you go around, you're going to see one. And you can go out with the most experienced woodsman out there that has interaction with these creatures, and it may take you your whole lifetime to catch a glimpse of one. It's just that way.
Well,
I know some people do tend to have more encounters than others, but I don't know. I'm more like you, Noel. I like going and enjoying the camp, the atmosphere, and if something happens, it happens. If it don't, I'm still having a great time and relaxing and enjoying myself.
That's a true statement. And John Green never saw one. And you think about how much he contributed to this community and the database that he formed early on is just amazing. So tell us about the next time that you went out, Noel.
Okay. Let's see. The next time was here in Colorado. They've all been here in Colorado. Only two are in New Mexico. I'm still learning how to talk.
We are.
Okay, good. I might learn it someday. I don't know. But so let's see. I have, I don't keep notes, which I'm ashamed to say. I don't do journaling or anything, or write down, here's where I went on this date, and this is what I saw or didn't see, or in which, it's not good, but I don't do that, and I may start. I don't know. Anyway, I believe it was, like I said, here in Colorado. Back up in the hills again, a different area, but pretty much the same elevation. This time we're in a big aspen grove with just big old aspens. Usually when I'm up there and come into an aspen grove, they're just a lot smaller. And never saw an aspen grove with so many big old trees in it. It was just beautiful. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. I'm trying to remember. We went up, and this time I was able to stay in base camp, which was nice. I just staked my ground. I got there early. It's like, and I can't remember if we had activity or not, which is, maybe we didn't have any activity that time. I do know, we went for night hikes like always. There's usually about 40 people that show up there and break up into different groups and just go hike different areas. And there's always a group that will stay at base camp. And I'm pretty certain there may have been knocks, but I will go up further in time or closer in time to I think it was 2018, because I was out a few other times up there, but this time there was some things that I actually did get to experience myself. And one was when we were about 1:00 in the morning. I was with a friend. We were sitting at the campfire. We're just sitting there talking, and because I was afraid to go in my tent, but so and we're sitting there, and so this aspen grove has, like I said, those big aspens in it, and then there was dead ones that you could see them leaning against, some were on the ground, but some were still up. They hadn't fallen because they got stuck, hit a branch on some other tree, and so they were up, diagonally. So anyway, we were sitting there, and it couldn't have been any further than 300 feet, and I think it was closer than that. We heard this extremely loud crack, like a tree breaking. Yeah. And it kind of got our attention a little bit, It's like, oh. But then it did it 3 more times. It was as if it had taken this tree and just broke it once again, and then again, and then again. And it was so close and so loud. It just was, I actually, I talk about that terror. My friend there, I don't drink alcohol, but he pulls out his flask because I'm like, oh, I'm leaving. I'm getting in my car. I'm going home. I can't deal with this. So you want to drink? And I was like, I don't drink. Like, I don't know what am I gonna do. I just lost it. He says, so you want a Klonopin? That's a muscle relax. And I was like, give me the Klonopin. So, it was take that or go home. That's how afraid I had gotten. I just was not expecting anything like that to happen. And I did try to get the recording for tonight, but I couldn't get a hold of my friend he recorded it, and I wished I could have. It was just awesome. But like I said, it took me 3 days to get over that fear. And by the following week, I was like, oh, that was so awesome and neat. But in the meantime, you're Chicken Little again here. And I stayed afraid. And it shook me up. It really shook me up. So I don't say I'm not afraid, because I'll tell you, I get shook up pretty easily. But I keep going back because I just got to know. I just need to learn. Yeah. I want to know about these creatures. So,
do you think they were doing the breaking the trees to intimidate y'all or to scare y'all out of there, or?
Well, really, I think they were. Kevin, the guy I was with, sitting there at the campfire, he said, I think it wants us to go to bed so it can come into camp and look through our coolers. And I think that's why it did that. So like when you go to, and that makes the most sense. Because we were the only ones up, and they do have a tendency to come in there and go through coolers and just, just, they don't take anything, but they go through them. They come walking through. They pat tents, and I so I don't think my tent was ever patted up there, or else I was asleep when that did happen. There was one evening, however, up there I did go to bed, and and I heard there's the most softest knock you could imagine. Two very soft knocks. The second I turned my flashlight out, there it was comforting. It was so weird. It's like it didn't scare me.
Yeah.
That's what was surprised. I was surprised that I was not afraid. And I guess because they were just so nice and soft. And that's why Larry, I think that's why I broke that tree. I really do. What Kevin said. I think those two knocks were like, okay, lights are off. Let's go.
Yeah.
That may just be my imagination, but from what people have said about them coming into camp, I have never seen or heard that, but others have. So,
yeah, we've had that happen. That the last guy that went into his tent, as soon as they got in there, you could hear a knock. So it seems to be they're notifying everybody, all right, it's almost time.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, talk to us about when you went to New Mexico and you spent time on Mr. Hoyts Ranch. And I was fortunate enough to meet Mr. Hoyt when Brenda Harris invited me out to speak at her conference in New Mexico. And I'm going to tell you, you sat there and you talked to Mr. Hoyt for 15 seconds and you just fall in love with him. He's just such a great man, and I have so much respect for him. And you were able to spend some time on his ranch. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, well, this too is with the BFRO. It was I think it was last summer, last June. Anyway, I was told I could go down there early. It was supposed to go from. Are we okay?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Everything disappeared for a second. So I was invited to go down early. We're supposed to go from Thursday through Sunday, and they said you can start coming on Monday. So I was like, okay, I'm going. And I got down there on Monday. And there was some folks that did come early. The most folks did come on Thursday, but I got to meet Hoyt early on. He didn't live there. We used to be a working ranch, and it's not now. So he lives off at another property, I guess you would call it. But he was out there every day. He would come out. And he would just tell us stories about what went on there, and he was absolutely just a very, very wonderful. He is a very, very wonderful man. And I remember before we got down there, he had requested that we bring sardines with us because we were kind of asking, is there anything you need? And he's like, yeah, sardines. And I was like, what the heck do you want sardines for? And so I asked him, and he said we just put them out there, and they really smell, and they like those sardines. Huh. So we did. We brought sardines down, and I guess he put them out there. But what was so wonderful about that trip was his family. Not just his immediate family, his like relatives and of course friends too. They set up their camp too, with our camp, and every evening they cooked just a huge meal. We had Indian fried bread and just all kinds of Native American foods that I don't know what you call it. And they did this every single night. And it was just, I don't know why. you know. It was just out of the goodness of their heart. Hoyt told him, you know, you come here, you do this, and they came, and he was the boss. But he would go too. You know, we'd go out driving around. Some people went out with their thermal I always forget what those things are called.
Fleers.
FLIR.
Thermal,
Yeah,
yeah.
with his FLIR. And he loved it. He would go out, drive people around with that, so he could look through it and all. I believe somebody even gave him one because they had gotten a new one, and someone left their old one with him.
Wow.
But he had so many wonderful stories, and his relatives and all. They were just some of the most, not some of the most, they were the most kind-hearted people I have ever met. I mean, they were so hospitable.
Yeah.
It just, you know, you sit there and ask why, and then you get to sit there and just say, well, thank you. You know, they were just so kind. We would get together with all of them at night, which was, it was nice. We'd all get together and go do different hikes and all, and it was just so much fun, you know. Just being with these people. They were just good, you know. You hear about salt of the earth people, and they truly, they are. They are.
Yeah.
They welcomed us with open arms. And we heard so many stories.
I know when I was out there, I just fell in love with the Navajo people. And Mr. Hoyt has such a funny, humorous personality. And I was sitting there, standing there talking to this feller, and after this man walked away, Mr. Hoyt came up to me and said, "Watch out for that guy. He's Apache." He just, Larry, you would love Mr. Hoyt. He's got that humor that we've got, and to kid and to jab, and just kind of like what Noel said, just salt of the earth people. And fried bread. If you have never had Navajo fried bread, it is the most awesome stuff. And I know that the ladies, it's kind of a competition between them who makes the best fried bread. But it is a staple in their diet.
Ricky made me some, and that was good. We had fry bread tacos.
Wow.
Yeah. Excellent. But let's not take away from Noel talking about food. We're sorry.
You know, I will have to say we did get into a little bit of trouble down there by one of the investigators. We were there, and the women decided to go out to this big old meadow and make a little bit of noise. Well, we had a blast. We just had a blast, and we were hearing things off in the woods and all, but next day we heard you know, we couldn't hear anything through our recorders, but we had lights and drums and screaming and yelling, and
yeah,
we were having a blast, all the women, and it was so much fun, you know. And they were absolutely curious of what these people were doing down there in this meadow, and that was one of the funniest times of my life. We were just out there just having a blast, and you know, I don't care that they couldn't hear anything on their recorders. It was just too much fun. You know, it
Right.
was too much fun. We could hear stuff every now and then, but you know, that's part of it is going out there and just having a good time.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
know?
No doubt.
So and not being all serious. That's not a good way to live life, I'm finding.
I agree.
But that also down there it was where I was hiking one afternoon we went, okay, let me back up. Hoyt on his property has some ruins, and a bunch of us went up there. We had to drive and then hike up because the road was so deeply rutted that you couldn't drive up it. So we walked up. We got out of our vehicles. We were walking up, and I was just strolling along too, and you just watch the ground looking for any kind of print. And I happened to be watching this guy's footprint, his sneakers. He was leaving a little tread. He was like, here's the rut, and then off to the side, there's two ruts, and in the middle. So I was walking along the left rut, watching this guy's footprints going up, and thinking maybe you see a deer print or something. And I run across this thing, and it was a big triangle depression in the side of the rut, where it's at that angle, and there's this something big landed there. You could see something big landed there, and I didn't say anything. I just kept going because I didn't want to tell anybody what I thought maybe it could be, and we still don't know if it was. But I found one of the investigators that was there, and she's also a tracker, and I asked her, on the way down, if we could look at this and what she thinks. And so we did get a cast made of it, and the jury is still out, if it's a Bigfoot or not. I hope it's one, but the big thing for me was I never ever expected to see anything like that. I just was just moseying along up to see these ruins, and I wasn't looking for Bigfoot footprints. But
Sometimes that's the way it happens.
Yeah, it was it was a life-changing thing, even if it turns out that it wasn't, because we still don't know. It still was a life-changing thing for me. It really was. It was just one of those things,
It was an aha moment that this thing is out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very possibly. So.
Right.
Well,
I know what you mean.
Tell us some things about that once you have kind of been broke in on going out with the BFO. What's some of the things that has happened on your latest outings with them?
Well, this year I was out twice, and one was not really with them, but it was with some of those. It was a more, private one. Like, you just go with your friends, but they happen to belong to this group.
Right.
So that the first one was in June. I think around mid-June sometime. I went up around 4 nights. We were up there, and this is over around the they call it the Flat Tops Wilderness area here in Colorado. And we were up top there, we were down below. And we were about 9,000 feet. And when we were up there, there was a lot of wind. So a couple of the nights. I'm gonna be all over the place with this, but there was a lot of wind, so I decided that I was gonna sleep in my car, just so I could have some quiet and get to sleep. And the night before I decided to sleep in my car, the wind did die down, and I was in my tent and I was kind of half asleep, and it was pretty quiet. And so my rain fly just did start flapping, and this was a surprise to me afterwards. My reaction to it, I was very surprised at, because you know me, usually it's like, oh, oh no. This time I was so tired, and I was in a very, very bad mood because I was just tired.
Yeah.
And this thing starts flapping. And I thought, well, I'm just gonna let out the biggest, ugliest cough I can come up with, and this thing will just go away. And it did. But what surprised me was my reaction. It wasn't that my go-to, my I'm terrified thing. It was I got nervous, but I realized at that right after I did that cough, I realized that a lot of that fear is behind me. What you were talking about earlier, Mark. And that was just, I'm so grateful for that. It's just been such a process of going out, doing this, looking, learning, and being afraid, and keeping on doing it. And it's it's been a lot about trying to learn about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it. But it's also been a lot about learning how to be out there, my attitude, my state of mind, and my motive too, my motives for even being out there. I have to be pretty clear. I mean, I do. Not that I have more activity when I'm out there, because a lot of times we don't. But my motive, if I'm not clear on my motives, I'm just gonna have a rotten time.
Right.
Well,
you said something that is pretty important. That as you go out there, you learn about yourself as much as you learn about Bigfoot when you're out there. And that's very important.
Acquired knowledge of these creatures provokes more questions, and the motivation for me, myself, to get into the woods and find those answers. Noel, what questions stand out in the forefront that you were pursuing the answers for?
Well, maybe it sounds really silly and ridiculous, but my biggest question is, I always wonder what kind of sound devices, recorders people use, like what they like the best. And I'm talking not high priced. I'm talking, $2. No, that's pertinent to me, because I would like to be able to put a recorder out there, and something I know that works well, and what people have had good luck with and all. Any other questions I guess I have more to do with Bigfoot. The question has come up lately, and I don't know that I'll ever get an answer for it. Since I've been going out there, I don't like talking about this. There has been some UFO activity that seems to be, that somehow happens at the same time. I don't like that that's been happening. We did in July see a UFO, and we did see some very strange lights right in base camp. So now I'm questioning all of that, and I'm not happy about that, seeing any of that, because Bigfoot to me is flesh and blood. And I keep hearing people say, well, they're this, they're that, and I'm like, no. And God darn it, it's causing me to have to look at that because I don't know. Are they related? I have no idea. No idea whatsoever. So that's a big question for me right now. But the other one, even bigger, is that what people use to record. That's I've just been looking at recorders and wondering and asking and looking, and I just ask again tonight. Who uses what? Why do you like it?
Well, if you're looking for an inexpensive recorder, and you want an easy way to pick it up, all you got to do is follow Larry Porch in the woods. Because Larry Porch has lost more recorders. He is wearing the championship belt right now on them.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
But seriously, you can actually go to Walmart now. They have changed the model number, but Sony makes a digital recorder that people use, like college students might like, just like that.
Just like that.
And they run about $60, and they're pretty cheap. Do you see the model number on that one, Larry? Because that's a new one. He won't have it next week.
That's why I bought an extra one. It is a an ICD PX470.
And
everybody get that?
How much did you pay for that, Larry?
About $60.
Okay, those are,
and it's kind of built-in USB too, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
So how about that?
That's
Noel. We've got a question from the audience, and they want to know if you recently joined a witness protection program, or if you got a light in your room because they can't see it.
Oh. It's getting dark, and I don't have any lights on.
You started talking about UFOs, and then it just got darker and darker.
Let me put a light on. I gotta leave for 1 second.
We thought the Men in Black already showed up and going after Noel.
Now I gotta know what is left from right, and I don't have my glasses.
It don't matter.
No, it play the sound either way. You'll just be backwards.
You'll hear it backwards, Noel.
Get
it right. It'll sound like one of those Beatle albums when you turn it backwards.
Oh, man.
One other thing that did happen up there in June, not the one in July, but in June, my friend Jason, this is his spot, and he goes up there, and he does bring a little bit back from camp. He puts food out when he does go. It's doesn't go a lot of times. A few times a year he was up there. So anyway, we decided to go up there. He was going to bring some food up, and then, can I go with you? Sure. And so then there was like 6 of us, and so we're walking up there. It's probably about 1,200 feet past camp, and we were there. I was with Jason. We were in front, and we were pretty near to where the food we had mangoes, elk sausage, peanut butter, sardines, thanks to me. And and I think and a pineapple. But anyway, he brought all this stuff up there. We were pretty close. We're probably maybe 50 feet and up the hill. I never heard this. I've heard recordings, and I heard that chatter. You know, that it was so. I was just shocked and amazed. I never, you know, I've listened to it, and different people have recorded it. I can't remember who or where or when, but I just, you know, I thought this is really cool to hear it, but I don't think I'll ever hear it. And I got to hear it. It wasn't much. It was just 3 syllables, just a quick "arrah," and then it was like it sounded just like an exclamation, like "oh," and it was so funny, that last sound, but the first 3 sounds was just another life-changing kind of thing for me to get to hear that with my own ears. You know, it was just what a nice surprise to hear something like that.
Right.
So we just I never ever thought I would hear that. No, just like I never ever think I will see one either. But it was just such a wonderful experience to hear that.
Well, what I appreciate about you is you're not going to see one if you're staying at home and not going out and pursuing them. And I know me and you have had many conversations and about the way that I study topo maps, and you have in the past have sent me areas that you go to, and we have studied the topo maps together, and I think that is it's a good learning tool for everybody, is to understand the corridors and the water sources and the food sources that are out there, and that's just one thing that I have really appreciated about over the past couple of years, that the conversations that we have had is so many times there are people out there that are the experts and know everything, and you can't tell them nothing, and they won't listen to anything that you might want to have some input in. But I really feel like that you can learn from anyone, no matter what their level is.
I agree with that.
I agree with that too. There's just in normal life, there's a lot of know-it-alls, and this is something. I will always be a beginner at this. I'll always be learning.
Me too, Noel. And
wow.
I think that's a great attitude, is to always be searching and not put nothing in concrete unless you are actually observing one doing an activity. All that you can do is have a theory and try to base your research on that theory to try to help you gain more knowledge and more experience that's out there. And Noel is the kind of person that I like to surround myself with.
Don't make that face, Noel.
I was like, oh my God, you are crazier than I thought. That would be right back at all of you. I found all of you on Facebook and Sawdust Beast probably no more than 3 years ago. I don't know, or whenever. How old is Sawdust Beast?
About 5 years old, maybe a little bit more.
Okay, so maybe it was about 3 years ago then. But I found out about you, Mark, and maybe you, Larry, through Bigfoot Crossroads. You were on there a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I just heard what you had to say about things, and I don't know. You didn't say, or I didn't connect or whatever, anything about Sawdust Beast. And then I did run across Sawdust Beast somehow and just started watching that and started seeing everybody who was involved in it, people who were on there, the Sisters of the Moon, and I can't remember a bunch of other people. But I just wanted to get to know you people because of just what I started seeing, the kind of people that you are, or the kind of people that I want to be around, when it comes to Bigfooting, and well, heck, life too in general. But you have so much integrity. You're honest. You're very, very kind people. But the big thing is the integrity. There's not a competitive thing going on. There's not a, like you were talking, Mark, anything about being an expert. What grabbed me was when you said, actually, that there's no experts out here. We're all teaching each other. And that's, you know, that's what got me when you said that. And everybody that you're with, you are all like-minded, as far as I know. Well, I don't know about Larry, but everybody else.
Yeah, I'm not minded at all.
She got you.
Yeah.
Got it.
But that's you're the kind of people I want to be around with this, and that I do learn from because of who you are and how you say what you say, and where you're coming from when you say it. You know, that's huge. There's so much BS out there that I've run across, and I haven't found one speck of that with you people.
Well,
we try to put out what we collect, and we don't make no claims about it. It is what it is, and if somebody proves a howl as a wolf or whatever, we're not too proud to say, okay, you're right, I made a mistake, because we're not that way.
You know, that's one thing that Larry and Shelley and myself said from the very first time before we even started the Facebook page is, if we are proven wrong on something, we are going to be the loudest ones screaming it, because we don't want, first of all, we don't want to lead nobody down a wrong path. And Larry and I are both Christians, and it's important for us that whenever we talk, that it's true to the best that we know it. And so we really appreciate that, Noel, because our names mean something to us, and our integrity means something to us. And I just want to throw this in there. If you're in the Denver area and you are interested in going out and looking for this creature, Noel would be, she needs a partner. She needs a full-time partner that she can go out with and bat around different ideas and try different strategies and tactics. So you can find her on Facebook if you're in that area and you have liked about what she has talked about and you think that you might mesh well with her, because we would love for Miss Barbash to have a full-time partner to be able to go out with. I know that when me and Shelley found Larry, it just added so much to what Larry brought to the table and what me and Shelly brought to the table. And there's no animosity about any of our own personal success or ideas or things that work. You know, we give kudos to one another when somebody comes up with something good to try, and that's really important to have in a partner that you go out in the woods. So that's just something for the people that are in Denver that that might be interested. I know when I first got interested in this, I didn't know where to turn. I was looking on Facebook. I should have been looking on the like Googling it on the internet, but I didn't know where to turn. And I was actually thinking about putting an ad in the paper and seeing if anybody would be interested in going out, because it was just driving me to go out and go out with somebody knowledgeable and be able to learn from them.
And now look at you.
We're starting to get close to the end of the show, and the stupid person that you're looking at right now, and it's not Larry.
Me.
No. That had the YouTube problems at the beginning of this show and had to work it out. We thank everybody for their patience, but I failed to mention that if you have questions, that just put them in all caps, and Miss Sally Olin is sending them to us. And so, and we will put Noel on the spot. And
yep.
So, Larry, do you want to go ahead and start asking the questions that we have now?
I will. All right, Noel. Your friend Bama Murdoch says, first question for Noel. Have you ever turned around, kicked off your shoes, and ran like a child through the woods screaming like a kid? He said, he had to ask that.
Well, it used to come naturally when I was a little kid. I always got in trouble. So I would take everything off and just go run.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Bama, I like that.
This is a family-friendly show, Noel. Keep your clothes on.
All right. This next question's for Mark. It comes from Kurt Moser. Did you pack your own chute?
Kurt, I was lazy. We were fortunate enough that the airport that we jumped out of was owned by a FedEx pilot that was a skydiver, and he built an airport just for skydivers.
We need a short answer here, Mark.
Okay. And so I'm going to tell you, after I jumped, I would wad up my chute and walk in where they would pack the chutes, and I would take it off, and there were guys in there that would pack your chute for $5, and I would pay somebody $5 to pack my chute, and I'd go out to the swimming pool. There was a swimming pool that Mike had put in out there, and I would swim and then get my name on the list to go back up.
That's good enough.
Okay, let me pull up let's see.
You got it?
Yeah, Spencer Jameson, our friend. Noel, What was the thing that convinced you there might be an actual Sasquatch? Was it one particular experience or a bunch of things?
It was that stupid question I asked at the golf course. that really, it wasn't a number of things. It was, well, that was like 75% of it.
Yeah.
And then I would have to say, when actually through all the reading and everything I did, that didn't do it. But when I did go out with BFRO and I can't remember what was said or not said, but it was in listening to them, and I believed them, what they had to say, and that I think was the other 25%. It wasn't a matter of that I believe in them. It became a matter of knowing, instead of, how you know something,
Right.
rather than believe. You could believe whatever you want, doesn't make it true.
Yeah. All right. Steve Terry says y'all could come to Texas. We could camp in the Sam Houston National Forest. Have you ever been anywhere? I know you said everything you've done with the BFRO has been in Colorado, and you've been to New Mexico. Have you been anywhere else doing anything?
No, I would love to come down that way. I know it's not going to be in Texas. The meet and greet you guys are having, I want to come to that. And I would love to come down, Texas and all down in there. I'm deathly afraid of ticks. Deathly afraid of snakes. I'll come in the winter only. I will not come when it's, it's just, and I'm not going to even try to get through that terror,
I understand.
Okay, Spencer Jameson asked, have you ever smelt anything unusual?
Yes, and this was before I asked that question. This was when I always went hiking out in the mountains since I moved out here, and or the foothills or both. And there was a couple of times, only 2 times, all the hikes I took, which were very many. And I was up there pretty high. We were talking about this, Mark. I think I was up around 10,000 feet easily. And on 2 different occasions, I just smelled the most putrid, like, swamp smell. It was just horrible. But it didn't faze me. I just, it's like, oh, it must be a swamp nearby. And I kept going. And I thought about, when you asked me to come on this show, for some reason that came to mind. And again, it's come to mind before, but I was like, I don't know. I haven't looked at a map. I don't think there's any swamps at 10,000 feet. So I don't know what animal it was, though.
Right.
Both times it was the same horrible smell. Same area, different times, of course. But I didn't think Sasquatch or anything. I just thought, oh, it must be a swamp. So, but I don't.
What time of year was it?
It was in the summer.
Summer?
You can't get up that high until snow comes out and stuff. So,
Right.
All
right. David Blaylock asked, do you feel that women get more action with Bigfoot?
I think they do. From what we've done every time I've been with BFRO. I don't mean to be bringing it up, but that's pretty much who I've been with a lot. We always do these women night hikes, and we always get something drawn in. It seems like a for sure thing. Whereas if we don't do that,
Right.
and I don't know for my own, only from what I've have read and heard, is, you know, I'm sure you've read it too, that they like a woman's voice, and just that a male is more threatening because most men are hunters to them. I mean, where do you see them? Out in the woods, right? What are they doing? Hunting. There's not many women hunters, so they're not as threatening. That's just stuff I've heard. But when I have been out with the women, it does seem like that is true.
All right.
Is it my turn?
I believe it's your turn.
Okay. Our buddy Tony from Fishing, Gaming, and Guitars. He asked Noel, in your opinion, is Bigfoot an animal or a type of people?
Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. There again, well, okay, it's just an opinion, and you know what they say about opinions. But
Everybody's got one.
Yeah, everybody's got one. I think it's a type of I do think it's a human, some kind of human person. I mean, yeah, we're all animals, but I think it's a human. I really do.
Okay. David Blaylock asks, how long have you been involved in the field of research?
Well, I'm not a researcher, but it was 2010. I keep referring to that question. I would say it started right after I asked that question. To be going out in the field, though I didn't actually do that until 2012. So.
Well, don't feel bad about that, Noel. There's people that claim to be researchers that don't go out in the field and just sit behind the computer. So, it's all good.
Well,
all right.
Looks like I got stuck with Bama Murdoch's question.
Yep.
Okay. Listen carefully, Noel.
Uh-oh.
If Noel were on a desert island with Mark, Larry, or super cool Bama, which one would be the best one to chill out with?
Noel, just say moose.
Oh yeah, Moose, the dog.
Yeah.
Moose. Absolutely.
Yeah, we kicked Bama to the curb over Moose.
See pictures of Moose. No question about it.
All right. The next question comes from Sally Olin. Have you ever regretted doing Bigfoot or getting into Bigfoot?
I have regretted asking that question at that golf course. Yes, I have. I've gotten very angry sometimes about it.
Yeah.
Because it just, I'm so obsessed with it. It's like, why did I ever have to ask this question? It's like, I don't need this in my life. But, you know.
It's almost a curse at times.
Sometimes.
Almost. Yeah.
It is sometimes, yes.
All right, Mark. I think it's your turn.
No, it's your turn, Larry. You're
I
trying
just asked Sally's question.
Okay.
Did you go to sleep or something? You don't have that bottle out, do you?
Okay. Marquis the farmer is wondering where in Connecticut she grew up. I grew up in East Hartford, but now live in Alabama.
Roll Tide.
I grew up near New Haven, Connecticut, in a little town called North Haven. And I know where East Hartford is. everything's so close there. It's such a tiny state.
Yeah.
So, when did you leave Connecticut to move to Alabama?
Just
We'll
put that
we'll
in the
have to wait on
comment
that.
section.
Do that. Sorry, I shouldn't be asking questions back.
That's okay. I don't know what that next thing is, about $5. So we're going to go on to Diane Fowler asks, where are you, Noel?
Pluto. Yes. No, I right now I'm in Denver, Colorado at this very moment in my bedroom.
There you go.
Okay, our friend Root Beer Fizz, who always puts our first comment on after every podcast, and we appreciate Root Beer Fizz. Noel, do you have an idea why some people have more activity than others?
No idea whatsoever. No, I don't. I wonder why too. If you ever find out, let me know.
That's an honest answer. I see one on here that hadn't been posted yet, but what, out of all the stories you've heard or reports, what's the craziest report you ever heard? Maybe Hoyt told you a good story out there in New Mexico or something.
Oh boy, I've heard so many stories from so many people. There's been many, many crazy stories. I'd have to think for a minute.
It might be your favorite encounter story.
Yeah.
I know mine's Tim Paler out of West.
He had party hair.
It wasn't really an encounter, and I was not there at the time, but one of my friends, they were up camping, and it was a Bigfoot outing, and they had cooked bacon, and I forget what happened. They left camp. The bacon was still on the grill, fire was going and all, and they came back, and I think they got a big old handprint out of it, but all the frying pan, they think it must have come in and grabbed the hot frying pan, and there's bacon hanging from the branches. And
wow.
I know that doesn't sound too crazy, or really, I thought it was pretty hilarious, but
I tell you what, me and Larry wouldn't have left no bacon at camp before we walked out.
No. We sure wouldn't have left it hanging up on the tree limb.
Okay, Pappy Two Bears. Noel, what do you hope to learn as you continue this journey?
I really would like to learn. There is, I talked about her. I heard that chatter, and I'm not going to find it out in the field, but I like going out there. But what I would like to learn is, and I doubt if I ever will, but I would like to know what that language is, what are they saying? Because I have absolutely no idea. And I would like to learn about their what they do all day, their lifestyle. Do they migrate? Do they not migrate? Just their personal. You hear things about family and clans and groups, but I would like to know specifically about that, and I don't know if that will ever happen, but I would love to learn about that, and just what is this being? How does it live? It apparently is a social being from what I've heard, and I would really love to learn more about that. I know I'm just crazy. I would love to somehow be able to sit with one and talk with it, which is never gonna happen. It's just that's nuts. Absolutely nuts. But I would be lying if I didn't say it didn't run through my head sometimes.
Hey, that's run through everybody's head. So that's a good, honest answer. I like it. Brant Douglas asks, he says, I'm a little bit behind, but tell her she's not alone. Shatner scares him also. And I got to tell you, I just saw that episode of Twilight Zone you're talking about 3 or 4 months ago. Debbie and I watched it. And I believe in the newer one they come out with, they remade that one story on the newer one that came out not long ago.
Well,
so
that's my favorite one. That's my favorite Twilight. Okay.
Yeah.
Sally, let's see. Wait. Squatching Everything asks, was there any results from the sardines?
I have no idea. I don't know. I know Hoyt has had results with them. He put them out. I personally didn't. But he says they like the smell and they come in. And I guess they like the sardines too. What we put out when we were up there back in June, we had left and we were gone a couple days after, and the sardines were still there. So no, there for us there was no results at that time, but I'm only guessing they probably came and took them after we left. Don't know.
Yeah.
Something did.
Something did, probably, yeah.
All right, I've asked one of these, and I don't know what the other one is. So I'm going to skip down to Squatching Everything. It says, Larry or Mark, was any of the footage from the Mississippi expedition looked over? And Mark, I'll let you answer that.
I'm not sure which Mississippi expedition.
I think he's talking about for Bigfoot Odyssey, probably.
Oh.
Maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, I do not know, because when we got back to Kerry Arnold's house, I just gave him all of my SD cards. And, but I don't know. I really hope Kerry puts that out. Even though we were getting kicked out of states and camps and packing up every other day and having to go somewhere else, you know, it was a fun trip, and we did a lot of stuff, and who knows what could be in that footage. And because we spent the most of our time at every place that we were at, and went out and hit the woods day and night, and did not let that COVID crap get us down on it. We just rode with the punches on it, and
as much as we could.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
Well, I believe that is the last question that we have.
I believe so.
And Noel, we would like to give you this opportunity to say any final comments that you might like to add.
You know, I keep thinking about that meet and greet that you guys are having, Sawdust Beast, down at LBL. And really, I don't have a whole lot to comment on about, except I really want to come down there and meet you guys, everybody that I've seen on Facebook and all, and I've met and friended on Facebook. And I'll just say it again. I just love you guys. You just really, my heart really goes out to you, because, like I said, just you have so much integrity, and that is everything to me. Just because of what I have seen out in this Bigfoot world, there is so much backstabbing and competition and lying and everything, everything that's in the normal world. And
Yeah.
you guys are just you're the real thing, and I thank you for having me on here, but I really want to come down there and I want to meet all of you, because you're very, very real and very special to me because of who you are and the way you go around about this. That's my closing comments.
Well, that's very humbling. And we are humble people, and we like to surround ourselves with humble people like yourself. So thank you, Noel. Larry, do you have any final comments?
Well, I appreciate what Noel said. And I mean, if you like us looking at us through this computer screen, that's how we are in real life. We're not putting on a show. We're not acting any different than we normally do. We're just good old country folks that try to treat people the way we want to be treated and try to respect people with their opinions, whether we agree with them or not. We listen to them and let that be it. And I want to thank Noel for coming on here. I know she was a little bit worried or scared at the beginning, and I tried to tell her to just think of this computer as a campfire, and we're just sitting here talking, and we made it almost 2 hours, Noel. How about that? And it's been painless, hasn't it?
Yeah, mostly.
I love it.
Well, my final comments is just how much we appreciate Noel and how much she has contributed to the Beast page. And I would like to remind anybody that lives in the Denver area that enjoys the outdoors and has an interest in Bigfoot, get on Facebook and shoot Noel a message and friend her, and because we would love to see Noel have a full-time partner. Beast TV would like to welcome all of our new Facebook members. We have had almost 30 people join up in the past week, and we just want you to know that we appreciate each and every one of you. And we started this page because we needed help analyzing audio, and we wanted to teach people the way that we went about reviewing audio. So there's a lot of audio stuff on there. There's a wealth of information of other things that you might find beneficial to you. We also want to thank all of our new YouTube subscribers and our faithful followers. Also, be sure to check out our field evidence videos. And check out our sister channel, Beast of the Woods. That's Larry's channel. We do these podcasts and videos for you. So if you want to help us out, and if you haven't subscribed yet, just hit that subscribe button. And make sure to hit the like button for us, ring the bell, and leave us a comment. That helps us with our YouTube recommendations. Larry and I would like to thank Sally for sending us the questions from the chat room tonight, and thanks to all of our moderators for keeping our chat room kid friendly. Thanks again to each of you for watching, and we will see you again. Same bat time, same bat channel. Night night, footers.
This has been a Sawdust production.